Hey guys, welcome to How to Make Your Own Music with DM Empire, and we are in stage 2 of how to make your own music. So basically, in this stage, I'll be introducing you to a software called FL Studio, which is what we're going to actually be basing our ideas on today. So our music creation ideas will be based on FL Studio, and everything we're going to be doing will be in FL Studio. In the last lesson, I already told you about FL Studio and where you could get it from. And now, after you've done your installation, you should find an icon like this on your desktop, which says FL Studio. And we're going to begin by just double clicking on it, clicking it, and getting FL Studio up and running. For those of you that haven't heard about it, software, it's a pretty amazing software. It literally does almost everything for you by itself, really. So all you just need to know is what to do, and the rest is easy. It's different from every other music creation software out there that you would actually need a MIDI keyboard. So if you don't have a MIDI keyboard, you don't have to worry about anything. You can do this by mouse. If you have a MIDI keyboard, perfect. That's a perfect bonus right there. It makes everything a lot more easier to do. So as you can see, once you open FL Studio, you'll be approached with a screen like this. So this is what FL Studio looks like. It's kind of it's actually a very beautiful design. And by the top left, you're gonna see your files right there, so you can open new files. You can create new files, and if you do new, it's just gonna give you this type of template. Or you can choose another different template from what is right here. But for this lesson's sake, we're going to keep it as simple. The default template that came with FL Studio. Obviously, you have open, so when you save a file, you open and locate the file and open it back up. And you have your save button and save as and save new version as well. And you can also import MIDI files and export files, your songs once you've created your idea as a WAV, MP3, OGG, or MIDI file, depending on what you really like, what you feel like. You have the edit button for a cut and copy and add. You have the add buttons right there, which is to put new instruments right there. So you have the channel, so you can add new instruments into the channel, like a new VSTI instrument in there. So it's just going to load that up right here. I have some installed already. So for yours, you should have blank. And if you don't have a blank one, then what's it called? It's still perfect anyway. Actually, you would have a blank one right there. It's not like not totally blank, but you would have some VSTIs installed already from FL Studio. And you can, once you install new ones, you'll find them right here. So we have effects as well. For mixing your sounds, you're gonna have them right here. I have some installed, but most of the ones that are right here are just presets. And then your plugin picker. So basically, this is the list of all the plugins that you already have in FL Studio. Mine will be a little bit much more than yours because I have some other instruments installed. And it's as I said, FL Studio did a great work in this, and they designed something amazing. After that, you have your patterns right here. So these are basically your patterns right here, which you can do your songs in. And then you have pattern. You can have so many different patterns, up to 999 patterns right there. So the view button for your playlist, for your piano roll. Playlist is basically this part. It shows it right there. And you also have a short button right here for your playlist. Once you click it, it's going to go to playlist. Unclick it, it goes out of playlist and back to your patterns. You have your piano roll, you know, select instruments. You have your channel rack right there. It's already displayed right there. Channel rack, see? And it's called channel rack right here. And you have your browser, plugin picker. We already went through that. Plugin picker, project picker, plugin picker. You know, tempo tapper. It's kind of like right here as well. You have tempos right here, and so many other stuff right here. Your backgrounds. You can change your background wallpaper if you don't want. You can change it to something else, depending on your preference. You know, arrangement windows, and there's so many other stuff right here you can play with. Option, you have your MIDI, you have your audio settings, general settings, and you also have you know, files right here. So each and every one of these, we'll be going through this in a moment in another segment of the lessons, but this is just to cover up what FL Studio is like. And right here there are still more other buttons for you to actually check on. You don't need to check on all of them really, because not all of them might be applicable to you depending on what you're carrying out, but most of the stuff can be accessed from these parts of the software itself. So on the left part you can see the projects you've been working on. So you have your history. So once you're working right here, there'll be history right here, you know, what you're doing right here, and then your patterns also, and effects and generator, and you have recent files that you've already used to make instruments right here. So yeah, some of what I've used recently, but you will find yours should be blank, and if it's not blank, oh well. Once you open your FL Studio for the first time, you're going to be introduced with a kind of a demo song, so they should have their recent songs right there. And plugin database, you know, effects and stuff, they're all right here loaded into right here, just like from the plugin picker, but this is a short part. Your generators right here, your VSTIs and all that, you can all find them right here. You can see an image of them right here once they're installed. And we're gonna move on to yeah, those are the installed effects and stuff like that. So VSTs instruments that you've installed and all that, and quite a few that I've installed right here. Yours shouldn't be that much, or else if you actually have some installations done. And yeah, you got your plugin preset, channel presets, mixer presets, scores, and all this. This might look kind of complex, you know, at first, but in order to start off with FL Studio, it's pretty much simple. You can look into, so you can look more into, to find out more, you just look into packs. These are where all your sounds are stored. So packs is like a folder for all your sounds and all the presets that come with FL Studio. So you should find your drums right here, your instruments. Some of the folders are mine that I created myself. Like this external instruments are just mine, so they are from like a couple of samples I've already downloaded online, and you know, got them right here, and some I created for myself. And if you look at FL Studio, you're gonna find pretty much a lot of stuff right here. So if you look right here, they got the drums, you know, different type of drums that you can actually click on right here. You got your hi-hats, you know, for your hip hop sounds. Got so many stuff right here to play with. You got your kicks. Now your 808. You might need more kicks, getting them later on and installing them into FL Studio itself. Yeah, we also you got different kits as well, you know, and basically any of this stuff can actually just been simply like dragged and dropped into here, into the channel rack. So right here you find pretty much a lot of instruments right here by the side, and depending on what you want to do, you know, find more. Right, as we go around the lessons anyway, you see as I pick up instruments from here and actually put them into the channel rack. And got percussions right here, different type of percussion sounds to select from. It's pretty much a diverse sets of sounds. And then you got the SFX, you know, some effects right here. Just click on that sound, but you get the gist of what I'm talking about. So there's quite a few things right there to play with. And once you find an instrument you like, for example, if we went on the hip hop, for example, you got some kicks right here, snares. If I find something I like, I could just easily drag it and drop it right here. Once I drag and drop, it's now right here. I can drop it in any of the channels, and it's right here. And if you click on it, you will be approached with a screen like this, where you can see the wave wave image of actually that sample that you just dragged and drop right there. And if you click on the wave image, it's gonna make a sound. and also there's so many other things to do. So once you find an instrument you like from there, you can just easily drag and drop right here. So for people that are actually wondering about what if you want to get synths and all that stuff, I'll get to that in a bit, but let me just quickly introduce formally what this channel rack is. So channel rack is where you load up all your instruments that you actually want to use for a beat. So all your instruments you want to use for a beat will be found in your channel rack, and you can see right here there's kicks right here, claps, and I just loaded up this snare, this snap, and then snare and all that stuff. And this right here is for panning. So you can pan an instrument left, you can pan it right. And what panning simply means is that you want it to sound more to the left or more to the right, or if it's like this straight up, means the center. And now you have your volume right here, as much volume as you want that instrument, as how loud you want the instrument to be. A certain instrument, you can turn it low, you can turn it mid to about roughly 50%, you can turn it to its normal position, which should be around 80%. The FL Studio normally leave it at. They never put it at 100. They put it around 87%, 80 to 70%, actually 78%, around that type. So I'm just gonna leave it 77, 78%. No. So, and that controls the individual volume right here. And of course you have your piano roll. If you right click, you click on piano roll, you see a piano roll right here. You can lay down your instruments right here. You know, for those of you that don't have a keyboard, or if you have a keyboard already, you can just, you know, play from your keyboard and it goes onto there. Right here, that's your metronome button right here. So right now the tempo is set at 130, and if you click on that, you can hear the metronome is on, it goes off, on, it goes off. And what right here is wait for an input to start. So these are for the people that have a keyboard. So if I have a keyboard and I press this, if I was recording, for example, and then I press this, it's gonna wait for me to press a key, then it's gonna start doing its own stuff right there, you know. So that's why it's more like press like wait to record. So I press the play button right now, see it's not doing anything, but the moment I click on my keyboard, it starts as recording. No, so it waits for me to click on my keyboard and then it starts recording, compared to, you know, what usually do, you press record and then you have to run to your keyboard to actually make it record. So that's already made easier for you. Just a little bit about shortcuts. I'll just quickly undo that. You got your undo right here, and if you want to do shortcuts, it's just normal keyboard shortcuts. So you can highlight something with, you can highlight an entire thing actually with Control A to highlight the entire thing, delete to delete, shift, if you hold down shift and left click, it makes a duplicate of whatever you want to do. Control Z to undo, Control X to cut, Control V to paste, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. So it's basically normal keyboard shortcuts that you actually use. And playing with FL Studio, if you just click on the panel button, you can find out more about shortcuts, what they do especially. So we can arpeggiate a sound by just clicking Control A. So what arpeggiate means is literally it jumbles up the sounds a bit, jumbles up the sound. So we can arpeggiate with Alt and A, and it's gonna load up the screen, and then if you accept it, see what it does, it just cut it all up into little pieces and all that. And that's basically shortcuts for that. And so I'm just gonna click this back and wait to record. Right here you have the countdown button if you want it to count down 3, 2, 1 before it records, or if you just want to leave it to just record, just start recording immediately, you know. So if I clicked on this and I uncheck that, the moment I just tap play right here and click, it starts recording. Understand? So that won't do that 3, 2, 1 click. If I had the 3, 2, 1 click and I clicked on this and I tapped, you see, wait for 3, 2, 1 before it actually start recording. So that's about that. Then we also have something you call blend. So right here you have the blend recording. So blend recording means that if you make a recording, for example, so let's just say I just put down a recording right now. And that's right there. And I want to add a new recording on top of that. Once I click on my blend recording, I can go ahead and add another instrument, the same instrument actually, but what it would do now, it won't delete the first one I did. The first one I did is still right here, but now it added more to it. So you can actually record in short segments instead of you having to record the entire thing in one go. If you have that unchecked, obviously what it does, what FL Studio would do is it would wipe it all off. So let's just say I have that unchecked. And now I want to do a separate recording. I didn't like that. What it does is it deletes the ones before and actually record over that. It records over it. So if you click your blend record, it's gonna blend those two together. And now we got the loop recording. It loops a certain region and then records that part over and over and over and over again till you're satisfied with it. And then we have right here, this is called the song and pattern mode. So if it's unchecked, let's just say you have a pattern right here. Just quickly making a pattern with my mouse. We have a pattern right here. Now I press play. You can see you don't hear anything. That's because it's it's playing from here, from the playlist. And the playlist is different from the channel rack. Because in the channel rack, right, I click on this, it's gonna switch to channel rack mode. It's playing it from the channel rack. If I switch it off, it's playing from the playlist mode, which then I can easily just paste it in here and it plays from that mode. But I'll get more in-depth into that later on. Of course, this is our play button, and that's our stop button, and that's our record button, and this right here is our tempo, so we can find the tempo that we want. So you put on your metronome. I just keep this off. I'm actually delete all this. To delete stuff from right here, you just right click, hold it down, and then delete. To pull stuff on here, you left click, 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 click. It's right there. So to select the tempo, you just put on your metronome. It's doing its playing stuff. You can reduce the tempo. You can speed up the tempo. But you don't need to go that far. So that's basically what those part of FL Studio are. And we also have type keyboard to piano keyboard. So you have your normal keyboard. If you press a key on your normal keyboard and this is on, it plays from your normal keyboard. So not the MIDI keyboard, but your normal typing keyboard. It becomes a piano, kind of a piano for you. And then stroll stroll to reach time marker. So basically, once your marker is set, let's say on your playlist or whatever, it keeps going. So once you reach that setting part, let's say, for example, now we had instrument playing right here, and it keeps strolling. So it goes like, if you have more instruments, it's gonna keep going up forward. Just give me a second. See, right now it's just strolling, it's moving with it, while in natural terms it won't do that if this is unchecked. So it keeps moving with the piano roll. So it goes like, instead of you actually having to move that with your mouse, it moves by itself. So that's what that button is for right here. This forward arrow button is for. And we have the step editing mode to edit steps and stuff, and then enable notes and clip groups. So you can have two different groups clip together and multi-link to controllers. So linking different instrument controls you want to link. So you actually click on the controls you want to link, and then you link them together. So you have your lines. So there's basically 4 beats in a bar and all this stuff. But right here you can make it even shorter. So lines is the normal 4 beats in a bar. Then you have your cell mode. Let me just quickly show you what those are. So you have the lines right here, and then you have the cell. It's much easier to see actually, because this is actually dealing with the steps outside with the playlist pattern. So I'm going to show you right here. It's right here also. Just click on the magnetic button. So lines, if you can see that some lines have vanished right now, because this is normal 4 beats in about 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you see this thick line right here. And then you go to the next one, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you have the cell, which is kind of similar to the lines. And then you have 1/6, which now you can see more lines right here. And you have 1/4, more shorter lines. And then you have 1/3, like even kind of more, not shorter, but it's kind of a little bit more closer. And then you have the 1/2. So different types, just so you know, you can snap it. Everything is already snapped in. So you can do that. And you have none if you don't want to snap it in. So it's more like snapping in stuff. And none allow you to have a flexible movement. But once it's snapped to any of this line, 1/6, 1/4, 1/3, 1/2, or steps, or whatever you snap it into, it retains that part. So let's say you snap it to line. It's right here. Once you move it, it goes directly to the next line. So it doesn't go in between. Meanwhile, if you have it in 1/2, it's gonna go to the next 1/2 right here. Understand? And if you have it none, you can just freely move it about. So this is good for when you want to run a quick hi-hats or something like that, or if you're feeling more confident with your piano skills. So that's basically that, and that also represents that in a larger scale right here in your playlist. So right here is more about patterns, but we'll talk about that later on in the lessons. And now here is just for to move in between your playlist and your channel rack. And you have a view channel rack, which is right here. You can take it out or you put it there to view. You have your piano mode, which takes you to the piano part, and then view browser and plugin picker, which already right there by the left. And you have your mixer, shows you, we go into mixing tutorial in a moment after. And you have your project opener, what you already have in here, and open plugin picker, and you have view tempo tapper, different stuff. You can just tap your tempos right here and it's gonna find the tempo you want. And your undo button, you have your open new audio editor. So you have an audio editor already right here for you, Edison. And you have so many other stuff. One-click audio recording, so if you want to record voice and sounds in there, we'll talk about that. In this series, we're not mainly looking at recording vocals, but we're looking about more into beat creation. But we can touch, maybe we can touch on that, but we'll see as the session goes. But in this lessons, we're mostly looking into creating beats and editing beats and putting down your ideas. So basically, that's a rough introduction to FL Studio, kind of more detailed introduction into FL Studio. Same things right here. It's just normal buttons. You have your zoom button, you have your snaps button, you have your clicks button, just like the other one, and you have your kind of a paintbrush button. You just take it all around, makes it much easier compared to the click button. You have the delete button, you have the mute one, and you have the slip button just to move things about, and you have your slice button to cut things up, the highlighting button to select things and zoom in, and playback button is right here. And basically that's kind of a rough introduction to FL Studio. Everything else you can just play with it and see what else you can find. This is like more like the sampler screen, Once you load up a sound, you're gonna have this. So if you click on the sound, you're just gonna see this. You see the wave file, and you can actually play with it a little bit, normalize the sound. You know, input, output, out. You wanna fade it in, fade it. You know, fade it out, stuff like that. And as we move along the lessons, you're gonna see more about it. So you can see your keyboard for each sound right here, and more editing buttons right here to look at. As we go around, we're gonna play with it a little bit more. And basically that's it for this lessons. And just to put a little bonus in, those that were looking for synths and stuff, you can just right click, replace. There's a whole bunch of synths right here you can select from. You got a Toxic, you got a Citrus, you know, you got a Poison, you got so many other instrument armless as well, you know, from FL Studio that's already there. Sakura, you have Sakura as well, you have Plucked, you know, so Ogun as well. um there's so many instruments right there to play from, where to play with in FL Studio, so you can check those out. And what we're gonna do now is, this is actually a rough introduction, actually a very detailed introduction. I won't even call it rough. A very detailed introduction into FL Studio and how to play with it. If you don't understand anything, just leave a comment down below and I'll get back at you, or you could just send me an email from the support page and I would also get back at you. For those that have the live webinar, you can always ask me questions in the live webinars, and I would help you solve any issues that you're having with FL Studio. So basically that's it, guys, for video 1 of stage 2 in FL Studio. And I hope you enjoy it. I know you will enjoy it as we go on, but you should have enjoyed this. It could be a lot of details to take in, but you know what, it's worth it. As we move along the course, we get more interesting. It gets a lot more interesting. So guys, thanks for watching this, and move on to the next segment to actually see how we're gonna look at beat tempos. So the type of tempos and type of songs that we'll be dealing with. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next session.